I guess I've lost my ninja skills. I was close. Heyo, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I decided that in the spirit of plagiarism, I would plagiarize someone else's idea and talk about it a little bit, because this is an essay that I heard one time that really impacted me, and this is also something that I've talked to my older brother Ethan about a lot. I totally would be featuring him right now, except that he's at work being an adult. But yeah, this is something that really, I don't know, it just really impacted me when I heard it, because it was the encouragement and the push that I really needed to begin letting other people into my life. So this is an essay by Sam Jolman called "You Need More Than God." And hopefully this doesn't take forever to read, because I forget how long this is. Picture it with me. A man walks along a mountain path amidst towering aspens and pines. The tree cover here dances shadows around his feet. His pace is easy because he's really not trying to get anywhere. He closes his eyes and takes in a deep tug of mountain air. This is what he's here for, this smell, and these sights and sounds, and the company. Next to him is a kind of lumbering figure 3 times the man's size. Ominous maybe to us, but not to his traveling companion. The two smile and laugh like old friends as they amble along. They are engrossed in conversation, stopping here or there to discuss the things they see. A herd of elk feeding high on a far meadow, this or that wildflower, the smell of pine pollen in the air. They are clearly close friends. Intimates, we could say. This is Adam and God in the Garden of Eden, as told in the storied origins of life in Genesis, of course infused with my Colorado imagination. God turns to Adam. "You're lonely." Adam stops, and there is silence between them for a minute. Adam looks at God, looks away. God continues, "I get it. It's okay." "Well, it's not okay." "Is that what this is?" Adam says, tapping his chest. "Yes," God sighs, "and it's not good." These words had never been spoken here. They would have been scandalous had they not come from the Almighty. How could something not be good here? Here is Eden. Here is untouched paradise. Here is where everything was good. That's what creation knew. Adam could still recall the grin on God's face the day they first met, and the "oh, this is very good" that followed his smile. But now Adam's eyes swell with tears. He knows God is right, but he can't bear the ache it brings. And for the first time, grief is known in Eden. Okay, wait a minute, you say. Tears in Eden? I don't think they were tears of pain, so to speak, but tears of longing. And there's a difference. Like suddenly the desire was so strong and so yearning it just spilled over. However Adam handled this moment, we know the perfect world was not perfect yet. And it's God's move. It's not good for you to be alone. Here, let me do something about that. Okay, stop right there. Adam had God in paradise like none of us have ever had God, with no sin and nothing to stand in the way of intimacy and vulnerability. No fear, no shame, no heartbreak, no angry eyes, no silent treatment. He never once felt distant from God. And of course not, they shared everything. These walks and talks in the wild world never ended. And though I'm sure they shared long times of silence as good friends can, there was never a goodbye between them. Talk about a quiet time on steroids. He had God completely. And still, Adam was lonely and alone, by God's admission, which means God wasn't enough. It's a common struggle I think most of us feel at some point in relationship with God, that God just isn't enough. Somehow we have this sense that God should be enough for us, that if we loved him enough, or prayed enough, or spent enough time with him, somehow he'll be enough for our heart's needs. This is God we're talking about after all. But I can't tell you how often I hear clients tell me they want God to hug them, or hold them, or talk to them. I have this same heartache. I've wept out of these same sentiments. In some of my greatest pain, what has popped out of my heart has been, "I just want you to hold me." God has never held me, or hugged me, or touched me. And though I've heard him talk to me, it's never been audible. Jesus spent his days doing this for people, and one day, yes, we'll get to hug him again in body. But for now, he seems most incarnate in the love of others, the hugs or smiles or tears of others for us. But this ache for another person can feel scandalous or weak or worse. Even though I think these desires are hardwired, we seem terrified of how deeply we need each other, a friend, a lover, good parents. I sat with a man this week who told me how stupid he feels for missing his wife as deeply as he does when she's gone. It just sounds weird, or even wrong. Like, shouldn't God be enough? If I miss her this much, maybe I've made an idol out of her. I wanted to laugh. No, it's just how God made your heart. I probably laughed because I am like the king of needing people. And it's always relieving to find someone else who admits they need people too. Like Jesus, for example. Remember Jesus in Gethsemane? Taking along Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, he plunged into an agonizing sorrow. Then he said, "This sorrow is crushing my life out. Stay here and keep vigil with me." Matthew 26:37 and 38. Even when seeking comfort and communion with God the Father, Jesus still wanted his friends really bad. No matter how much God we get, he's just not enough. We need people. We need human community. And somehow this is how he wired us. It is the humility of God to allow us to need something or someone other than him. I read that somewhere, and I believe it captures it best. God could have created us to need only him, but instead he created us to need so much else. We need food and air and water. We need sleep and shelter and meaningful work. And maybe most of all, we need each other. We need love and touch and laughter. We need to belong and be held. We need deep conversations and smiles from others when we walk in a room. Just to be clear, we need God too. We need God more than we need anything else. But we don't need only God. We need a whole lot of other things. Of course, it all comes from God. It all points to God. But it's not all God. And that's by design. Why in the world would God do this? I don't know. Maybe it makes for a better story. Maybe it's all one giant metaphor. I can definitely say this. You know that feeling you have when you find the thing your heart has been longing for? Cold water to slake your thirst on a hot day. The butterflies after falling in love with the woman of your dreams. How great a meal tastes after a hard day. A hug when you need it most. I think that feeling is gratitude. A deep bodily thank you. You're going to be looking for someone to thank. Maybe that's where God waits for you most, with a smile that says, "You're welcome." And I don't know, I just thought that was like really, really interesting because I have definitely felt that guilt. I spent so much of my life feeling like I needed to figure out everything with God, like he had to be the one person that I took everything to. And that just put a lot of weight on me. I really don't think it was good for me just trying to only have a relationship with God. And I would feel really guilty if anyone else had a part in that relationship, like if anybody else encouraged me, if I felt like I needed to go talk to someone else as well as God. I felt like he was disappointed in me, like he was looking at me like, fine, okay, if you really need this crutch, okay, sure, you can have this other person, but like we're gonna get you up to the place where you only need me, but like since you're so weak right now, sure, fine, but this is not what's best for you. And yet that really wasn't God at all. I think that's a whole lot of the point of why we have life on earth is like for each other. I really need other people. And I did carry a lot of guilt about that I really do not think was from God. Because he did create us for each other and his commandment is like, love one another. Since this has been pointed out to me by one of my friends that I have a tendency to not let people into my life or ask them for help in the middle of things, and they said that that's not good, that other people are meant to be part of our relationship with God and an encouragement to us. And ever since I listened to them and like prayed about that a lot and asked God his opinion about it, I've been talking with him a lot about that. I think I've been growing a lot in that since then. I guess I was scared that I would start replacing God with other people, but actually it's designed so that that actually deepens our relationship with God. Like when we get to come to another person, like they enable us to bring our hearts to God. Like sometimes we really are in this place of like, I need more than just praying by myself or something. There's something so important about community, like even just having other people there and we're all worshiping the same God together, like that's so much more healing for my heart than when I'm in my room trying to worship by myself sometimes. Like sometimes that's what I need, is just like to be around other people and see that they are worshiping the same God. That's the encouragement that I need. And also sometimes we really need to like talk to people and get wisdom and counsel that we can't always get from God because he doesn't speak to us with an audible voice. Like we're meant to be able to get encouragement and advice from other people. We're meant to be able to get hugs from other people because that's something that's really important to me too. And I totally agree with him there, that it's like, I cannot wait to get to hug God. But right now, all I have is these people that he's given me. And I want to get to experience them being his love to me. Because while they are not God, they really actually point me more towards God than when I was just trying to do everything by myself. And it's also an act of kindness towards them when we'll let other people in and like ask them to be a part of our lives that way, because then they're getting to be God to us, and that's what we were created for. Is like we were created to walk in love towards other people, and so it's a great honor to allow other people to do that, to be who they were created to be, to give them the chance to love you well in whatever way that looks like. Maybe that's blessing you even when they don't really know it, and yet still like they're gonna get a reward in heaven for that. So, and then also there's this verse that I really like in 1 John that says, in this world we are like Jesus. And I really held on to that because, like, I don't know, we're supposed to be like Jesus to each other. So while Jesus is not here in body anymore, now we get to be his body to each other. Not some weird cultish thing of like we are God, but just like we're his representatives on earth now. We carry his spirit inside of us, and like we're supposed to take on his mantle and try to fill that calling that he gave us, to walk in the way that he did. We're trying to imitate him. We're trying to be like him to each other. And it's really special that like in this world we have the opportunity to get to bring God's love to other people. Sometimes someone gives me a hug and like I'm experiencing it as if it was from God, because I know that that's his love towards me. When he chooses not to have a body and come hug me right now, he gives me one of his precious children and says, here, accept this as from me. And I do. Kind of in the same way that like Jesus says, like, whatever you did to the least of these, my brothers, you did it unto me. So like he accepts our gifts of love towards other people as if to himself. And a lot of times I end up accepting the gifts of love from other people as if it was from God. Because every good and perfect gift is from above and comes down from the Father of lights, whom there is no shadow or turning or something. That's in James. Look it up for the correct version of that verse. So yeah, since opening myself up to the idea that like we do need other people, like that's an okay desire to have, like that's something that's good for us. I've like been blessed so much by that, and also learned so much more how that can point me back to God in even more ways than I could have dreamed. Like I can experience him in better ways than I could have just feeling like I had to do everything by myself. And so actually, instead of replacing God with other people, that's actually deepened my relationship with him and driven me to him more often, like brought me to a place where I can go to him and receive his comfort. Like sometimes we really just need a boost from other people and some encouragement to get our hearts in the right posture to be able to bring them before him and receive what he has to give us. So yeah, I'm really, really grateful for the people that I have in my life who love me and are pouring into me like this, the people that do point me back to God, that my relationship with them just strengthens my relationship with God. It's not a distraction, it's an encouraging one another and building each other up. And thank you to God for giving us these people, for your humility in letting us need each other. And instead of you completely satisfying everything to the people around me, like in your humility, you let me share in that. You invite me into that adventure with you, and you're gonna like give me a little part of it. You're not just gonna do everything yourself because you could, like you're so much more competent and capable than me, and yet in your kindness, like you give me the chance to act in love towards other people instead of doing it all yourself. So thank you that you have made us to need each other, that I get the chance to be you to other people, and that they get the chance to be you to me. Thank you for watching, and goodbye until more interesting things happen. I need another move for my dance. I'm procrastinating making that up.